There's something Carl Jung discovered about human psychology that many individuals will never understand, and it might just save your life. According to Carl Jung, once a narcissist realizes they can no longer control you, they do not simply walk away. No, what transpires next is far more frightening than you could ever think. But before I reveal this devastating final tactic that Jung warned us about, you need to understand something important about the narcissistic mentality that even professional therapists often miss. Carl Jung said that within every human being exists what he called the shadow, the dark, repressed parts of our personality that we refuse to acknowledge. According to Jung's research, narcissists have a specific dangerous relationship with their shadow self. What Jung discovered about narcissistic behavior will revolutionize all you thought you knew about manipulation. But here's what's really terrifying: many people are unaware that they're dealing with a narcissist until it's too late. Jung said that narcissists project their shadow onto other people, which means they see their own darkness reflected in those around them. But once they find a person who can see through their facade, someone who becomes too dangerous to manipulate, something unusual happens in their psychological makeup. And this is where Jung's most terrifying observation comes into play. Stay with me because what I'm about to reveal could protect you from mental distress. According to Carl Jung, we all wear what he called a persona, a mask we present to the world. For many individuals, this personality is simply a social adaptation. But Carl Jung discovered that for narcissists, the persona isn't just a mask, it's their complete identity. But here's what Jung found that surprised the psychological society: when a narcissist's persona is threatened by a person who understands their true character, they don't only defend it, they declare war. Jung discovered that narcissists have what he called an inflated ego, an emotional condition where they feel they are superior to other people. This inflation acts as a defensive mechanism against their deeply rooted feelings of inadequacy and guilt. But Carl Jung mentioned something about narcissistic anger that many individuals do not understand. And understanding this could be the difference between freedom and emotional imprisonment. When you become too dangerous to control, you're effectively threatening the narcissist's whole psychological structure. Jung called these situations a psychological crisis that stimulates their most primitive protective systems. Carl Jung discovered that narcissists go through 3 different stages when they come across a person they can no longer manipulate. Stage 1, the testing phase. According to Jung's findings, narcissists initially seek to explore your psychological boundaries. They're aiming for what Jung called psychological weak points, places where they can implant their manipulation. But here's what Carl Jung discovered that will make your blood run cold: if you fully turn down their initial manipulation tactics, you've just marked yourself as a threat. Jung said that during this stage, narcissists are doing what he called psychological reconnaissance. They're studying your emotions, your triggers, and your defense systems. And what Jung discovered about their next move will leave you astonished. Stage 2, the escalation phase. Carl Jung said that when narcissists find out their usual strategies aren't working, they use what he called compensatory behavior. They overcompensate for their lack of control by being more aggressive in their manipulative tactics. According to Jung's research, this is when narcissists start using what he called psychological warfare. They might use gaslighting, projection, and psychological manipulation with enhanced intensity. But Carl Jung discovered something terrible about this phase: it's basically a test to find out if you will fall under pressure. And if you don't, Jung discovered that narcissists in this stage usually use what he called flying monkeys, other individuals who unknowingly participate in their manipulation effort. This is a smart psychological tactic that Jung considered extremely insidious. Because what transpires in the 3rd stage is something that Carl Jung said could destroy even the most powerful minds. Stage 3, the recognition phase. This is where Jung's most crucial finding comes into play. According to Carl Jung, once a narcissist eventually finds out that you are entirely resistant to their manipulation, they undergo what he called narcissistic mortification, an emotional wound so profound that it threatens their entire sense of self. And this is when they use the one last dirty technique that Carl Jung warned might be even worse than previous manipulation. Carl Jung discovered that once narcissists can no longer control you through direct manipulation, they try something he called psychological inversion. They aim to make you doubt your own sanity and perspective of truth. According to Jung's research, this final tactic involves the narcissist positioning themselves as the victim while painting you as the aggressor. Jung called this shadow projection on steroids. But here's what makes this strategy very dangerous. According to Carl Jung, this inversion strategy uses what he called the collective unconscious, shared psychological tendencies that exist in all humans. The narcissist taps into society's inherent tendency to sympathize with apparent victims. Carl Jung said this about narcissistic inversion that will surprise you: it's not just manipulation, it's psychological terrorism meant to remove you from your support system. Jung found that narcissists have an extraordinary capacity to manipulate group psychology. Carl Jung discovered that narcissists naturally understand what he called archetypal patterns, universal psychological themes that resonate with everyone on a profound unconscious level. They position themselves as the archetypal victim and you as the archetypal victim. And Jung's research found something about this technique that most individuals never realize until it's too late. Jung discovered that narcissists usually start their smear campaigns by sharing what seems to be real concerns about your behavior. They present themselves as worried or hurt by your behavior. But Carl Jung discovered the true intent behind this apparent weakness: it's a deliberate strategy to recruit allies for their emotional warfare. According to Jung's findings, narcissists are skilled at identifying those who are vulnerable to manipulation. They target compassionate people who naturally want to assist someone in turmoil. Carl Jung said that the ultimate goal of the narcissist's final manipulation technique is isolation. According to Jung's research, narcissists know that people are social beings who seek connection and approval from other people. But what Jung discovered about their isolation tactic will shock you. Jung said that narcissists deliberately try to separate you from your support network by poisoning your connections one by one. They plant seeds of doubt about your personality in the minds of your family, friends, and co-workers. And Carl Jung found that they use a particular psychological strategy that makes their deception look believable. According to Jung's research, narcissists apply what he called truth sandwiching. They embed their deception between factual statements, which makes the whole story look real. Jung discovered that this strategy exploits the human brain's inclination to accept information that comes packed with reliable information. The conscious mind strives to separate the truth from the lies. Carl Jung found out that when narcissists can no longer control you directly, they project their own shadow traits onto you with unprecedented intensity. According to Jung's research, this projection serves multiple purposes. It allows the narcissist to disown their own negative attributes while simultaneously criticizing your personality. But here's what Carl Jung said about this projection that could make things click into place. Jung explained that narcissists instinctively attribute their own objectives, behaviors, and psychological tendencies to you. If they're manipulative, they will accuse you of manipulation. If they're violent, they'll claim you're the abuser. And Carl Jung discovered why this projection is so effective. It utilizes the psychological mechanism he called confirmation bias amplification. According to Jung's research, the moment people hear allegations that contain aspects of psychological reality, even when those aspects don't apply to you, their minds naturally begin seeking for evidence to back up the claims. Carl Jung said that the narcissist's final manipulation technique involves a total inversion of truth. According to Jung's findings, they systematically change the story of your relationship to position themselves as the victim. But what makes this strategy so devastatingly effective, according to Carl Jung, is something that many individuals never anticipate. Jung discovered that narcissists have an intrinsic understanding of what he called psychological timing. They know precisely when to use their inversion strategy to achieve maximum impact. And Carl Jung discovered that they deliberately target moments when you're most vulnerable to psychological manipulation. According to Jung's research, narcissists frequently launch their final attack when you're struggling with stress, sorrow, or major life changes. They use your emotional vulnerabilities to make their false story appear more real. Jung said that during these vulnerable moments, your psychological defenses are weakened, making you more prone to self-doubt and confusion. Carl Jung discovered that when narcissists carry out their final manipulation strategy, they escalate their gaslighting tactics to unprecedented levels. According to Jung's perspectives, this isn't just casual gaslighting. It's systematic emotional assault. And what Jung found about this intensified gaslighting will explain every confusing situation you've encountered. Jung explained that narcissists start challenging not only your perceptions but also your basic ability for logical cognition. They suggest that you're unstable, unreliable, or mentally unwell. But Carl Jung said something about this gaslighting strategy that reveals its real intent. According to Jung's research, the objective isn't just to make you doubt particular events. It's to make you doubt your entire sense of reality.